My name is Richard Benack, and I will be doing a presentation today on the theory and practical application of glamouring. I'm a registered hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner in the state of Washington, and I have extensive experience and training in the theory and application of mind-body work, specifically around how does the body interact with the whole subconscious. I've also have almost 30 years of training in the martial arts. And in today's discussion, we're going to be looking at how we can integrate all of these into the whole aspect of changing your perception of reality, how you're perceived within the urban environment, out on the street, to basically help make yourself more secure and less vulnerable. My background also includes that I am the leader of the Sword Circle in Shankiel. Shankiel is a magical group. We believe it was founded about 200 years ago, perhaps in the late 1700s, during one of the Druidic revivals. It was founded in Northern Ireland, and then many of its practitioners migrated over to the East Coast, the southern Appalachian areas with the Irish potato famine, where then it became much more of a family magical tradition. During this time, it was considered a non-religious type of magical. They do a lot of work with energy. And within Shankiel, there's 3 basic circles. So this is different than other magical practitioners. Unlike other groups, perhaps like Wiccan, there's 3 circles there. There's the bardic circle, we call that the song circle, the circle of sorcery, the magical practitioners, the spell circle, and then the sword circle. These were the warriors, and I'm the head of the sword circle. The primary purpose of the sword circle was to do physical protection of the group. In this time in the South, people who practiced various magical traditions were not necessarily looked upon, and there was often times of high risk. So the purpose of the sword circle was to provide physical protection to the practitioners. Traditionally, many of its members have been current and former members of the military, and they do a lot of training in the physical martial arts. When Shankiel migrated over from the East Coast to here in the Pacific Northwest, some of the tradition has changed. We've changed it so that we no longer require to initiate into the sword circle to be a former or current member of the military. Now we've gone much more into training in various physical and magical self-defense. We do a lot of work, for example, of integrating of the martial arts with magic. We include various Japanese, Korean, some Chinese, and even Russian martial arts. All of these martial arts have various types of energy work integrated into them. And what we've done is we've looked at how do we integrate many of their work into this energy work into the application of self-defense and protection. Another difference between Shankiel and perhaps other magical groups is that while we have a very old and strong tradition, we are not bound to it. Shankiel is continuing to evolve. Even over the last several years, what we practice and train in within Shankiel is continually evolving as new theories of magic, new theories of science continue to evolve. For example, we have done a lot of work of integrating some of the Russian work. The Russians have done a lot of, during the Cold War, the Soviets did a lot of work on energy work. We've looked at how we can integrate some of this work into our own practice, including some of what we're going to talk about today in glamouring is Part of it is based on Soviet military training on how the type of energy work that they train their special forces soldiers in. Glamouring is something that's often talked about but not really taught a whole lot in many traditions. If you go out there and look on the Google glamouring, most of its references you're going to see is about the TV series Charmed and how they use glamouring. This is not how we use it. Glamouring traditionally has been associated with love spells and how to appear glamorous, how to appear beautiful. And that's very, very valid, but the way we use it when we talk about applied glamouring in an urban environment is how do we use glamouring to make ourselves safer when you're walking down the street, perhaps in a less than desirable neighborhood. How do you make people perceive you not to be a victim? How do you use glamouring to control how you're perceived? For this case, we use the term, it's the act of projecting an image or warping somebody's perception of you in a way of your choosing. So with glamouring, you are changing and affecting how people perceive you. And this is the type of energy work and the strength that we practice within Sean Keel. It's about learning to take control of yourself. So basically we're going to look at some examples of how we do glamouring. So there's many different ways of doing glamouring. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the techniques out there. We're going to also talk about the theory of glamouring. Glamouring, while is considered a magical technique, we in Sean Keel believe that magic generally has, if not a scientific basis, is not in conflict with science. So when we look at magic, part of understanding what magic is, understanding what energy work is understanding the scientific principles behind it. And this is one area that we're looking for. Within glamouring, glamouring is often a magical term, but it does have a very real scientific basis, a basis in how our body reacts to our mind. It's learning to work with the subconscious. And with glamouring, you can learn to go out and make yourself appear uninteresting, to be difficult to perceive. It's just sort of a vague shadow-like, perhaps a deja vu. We've all met people who, they could be standing in the room, even standing right next to us, and you don't notice them. There are people who, most people who do this are not doing this consciously, it's just their energy work. With training, you can learn to do the same thing. You want to go out and appear that on the street, not to be a good victim. Criminals don't pick random people to be victims. They understand who are likely to be good victims, and they will pick on those people. So if you can learn to manage how you're perceived out on the street, you're significantly reducing your risk of becoming a victim. So, the key to glamouring is learning to control your subconscious. The basic concept of glamouring is your thoughts and feelings control your body, muscles, and motion. This then controls how you're perceived. One theory of energy, when we talk about people's perception of feeling somebody's energy, is that what you're actually feeling is your subconscious is perceiving their body motion and movement at a subconscious level. Very, very subtle. They're making very subtle movements with their muscles, with their movements. And how your subconscious perceives this is what we would call energy work. Again, this is one theory, but it's a theory that is supported by science. Specifically, there's a concept called ideomotor response. This is well known for people who do a lot of work in hypnosis. And ideomotor activity it's an involuntary activity of the body that is based on your thought. So when you have a specific thought, or way of thinking, this will then change, how your body reacts in a very subtle motion. Things like, if you're suddenly afraid, the fear, your body responds. There's done, whole sets of studies out there about the fight and flight response. Your fear is changing your body. Your thoughts are impacting your body, which is then impacting how people perceive you. Start thinking about yourself as being much more confident, and how you will be perceived as much more confident. So this, like I said, what we're talking about today is intended as a tool to help you out in the street, but it's also something that you can use very much in your everyday life. So as we talked a little bit about what we're doing is with Glamouring, we're learning to work with the subconscious. The concept of the subconscious is actually been known for thousands of years. I mean, the early Hindus understood this. Much of what the Chinese and the Japanese talk about key work can often be tied to the concept of subconscious. There's a lot of controversy within the scientific community on whether the subconscious truly exists, but it has proven to be a very successful model for working with tools such as energy work, hypnosis, martial arts, and healing such as Reiki. While the controversy continues, we will look at this as a model between the conscious and the subconscious. So people ask, what is the difference between the conscious and the subconscious? The conscious is our everyday thinking. It's when we do math or when we make decisions. This is the conscious, and the subconscious is much more at an instinctual level. It's basically how we manage our body. It's things that we don't necessarily think about, and for the most people, they can't really control. Things such as meditation, martial arts are two very, very good examples of how we learn to control our subconscious, because the subconscious is the key to how we are perceived. Some common techniques for learning to control your subconscious is breathing. There's many different types of techniques out there for breathing, but with breathing you can learn to relax your body. You can learn to put yourself into a trance. You can slow down your heartbeat. Breathing can even be used to overcome fear. They've even done studies that breathing techniques can help prevent post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So breathing is a very, very important tool because it's done at the conscious level, but it can affect your subconscious level. Relaxation. This is another associated with breathing, but somewhat independent of it, is that through relaxation you can learn to control your body. Relaxation techniques, again, have been used to reduce stress, you slow your heartbeat, lower your blood pressure. Learning to relax your muscles, you can learn to relax even your internal organs. So this is slightly more complicated than breathing, but it's still very, very possible to do. The next one is through movement. Through movement, for example, like dance, you can learn to put yourself into trance. You can also start affecting other people. Start yawning. If people are watching you, they will start yawning as well. This is a basic technique, how your movement, your actions is affecting other people. If somebody jumps, if suddenly startle reflex action, it will basically affect all of us. We get scared, our heart goes up. On the other hand, if somebody kind of moves very relaxed and very flowing, we are going to feel much more relaxed and flowing. The whole concept of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is about building rapport, how your movement can control other people's perception of you. And this is some of the basis of what we're talking about in glamouring, is you are basically influencing other people's perception of you. Again, within NLP, they use the term building rapport, but it's influencing their perception out there. And then finally is the concept of visualization. Visualization is about what you think will affect your body, will affect others. Visualization is often used in performance enhancement. Many sports figures, such as Tiger Woods, use visualization techniques to take control of their bodies. They're able to relax themselves, improve their performance, be much more aware of what's going on. They've done studies out there by mentally rehearsing various actions. You're building muscle memory on that. For some sports, they've seen that if you actually do practice a technique and then visualize it, you might see as much as a 17% improvement in overall performance by doing this, because your body is getting used to doing it just by thinking of it. Same thing with glamouring. The more you visualize something, you can go out and build it up, and your body gets more and more used to it. How to do glamouring. We're going to look at some of the basic processes and principles of glamouring. One of the first ones is we talked about breathing. With breathing is most people, especially most Americans, don't really breathe well. They breathe very shallowly, mostly in the upper chest right here. And what this does is this brings a lot of tension into their life, and you can see it in most people. So the way we recommend people do breathing is much more of a martial arts perspective, where you breathe into the abdomen, breathe into the chest, and then try and breathe into the clavicle area. And then relax. So again, breathe into the abdomen, the chest, and then the clavicle. It's not necessarily deep breaths, but it's very, very much about continuous breaths. You know, just breathing in. And if you practice this, you'll find yourself, you're much more relaxed when you do this. You're just breathing it in, you feel your body relaxing and letting go. And people will perceive you're more relaxed on doing that. It's a much healthier form of breathing. Another technique we recommend with breathing is to, whenever you initiate a movement, breathe to start it. So if you're going to be standing up, start your breath, then move. Many people, when they move, they hold their breath. And what this is it adds a lot of tension to their body, and it makes you look very uncomfortable. If you start your breathing and then move, your whole action is going to seem much more fluid. You'll be perceived as flowing, versus holding your breath and trying to get up there. It will look much more strained. One of the key things with flowing is that if you're perceived as flowing, people are less likely to notice you. People notice very jerky motions. If they see very fluid motions, they don't notice it. It's part of the way that our eyesight and brain is wired. So by breathing and then moving, your body will be much more fluid, flowing, and you'll just be perceived as much more natural. And there are many techniques, many traditions have very, very good concepts of breathing yoga, many meditation techniques, and there are almost too many to even discuss. But you should look at investigating the various techniques and integrate it into your life, perhaps into your meditation. Learn to do breathing-based meditation, and this will help you start taking control of your body. This is especially if you're out on the street, for example. A lot of times what we're told is just look ahead, don't look at anywhere else, look straight ahead. The problem is you're not seeing the rest of the world. And unfortunately in this world is that if you don't see the bad guys, doesn't mean they don't see you. So one of the key things is learning to enhance your awareness of the world around you. And there's a number of techniques out there. Is learning to expand your vision. So a very basic one is basically taking your fingers, putting them in front of you here, and just relaxing and expanding them out to as far as they'll go where you can see them. Just taking your fingers here, out, and then looking at your fingers just about 2, 3, maybe 4 times. What you're going to notice is suddenly you see much more of the room or the world around you. Most people just look at what's in front of them. By doing this technique, suddenly you're seeing that much more around your peripheral vision. Your awareness is increasing. Another concept is, whenever you get out of your car, just take a second and expand your vision. Relax, open your eyes, and look around you. Just be aware. Same thing when you enter a room for the first time. Just take a brief second when you do and relax, expand your vision, and be aware. You're going to see that the world around you is actually much bigger than you've noticed. This is a very good technique that can be used when you're driving, for example. I'm sure we've all seen that when you're driving in bad weather, snow or rain. There's a strong tendency to just focus on the car in front of you. You get tunnel vision. So in bad weather, instead of focusing just in front of you, expand your vision. Suddenly what you'll see is all the cars that are on your left, on your right, perhaps oncoming. Your awareness of the world expands because you're getting more information on you coming in. You may even notice your head hurts a little bit more because what's happening is your eyes and your brain are processing much more information than they traditionally have. It can also be done when you're out and it's dark, or if you're driving along windy roads out there. By bringing in more information, you have greater awareness and you can respond much quicker to what's happening around you. Again, a key part of glamouring is awareness. You need to know what is going on around you so you can react appropriately to it. Within the magical community, the concept of grounding and centering is well known. It's considered a basic technique of just kind of letting go, releasing, relaxing. So this is always a good concept if you're going to go out, or just get out of your car. Just do a very quick, basic ground and center. Just kind of take a deep breath in. 2, 3 times. Just, visualize all your tensions releasing into the ground and relaxing. And then go on to what you're doing. You're going to feel your body is much more relaxed. It becomes much easier to be aware of what's happening with you. So just integrate grounding and centering or similar techniques before you start doing something. Like I said, if you're going to be leaving your car, quick ground and center technique. and you'll feel much better, be much more aware, and in much better control of your body and mind. We've all heard about using guided visualization, the term guided visualization, guided meditation. This is a very simple technique where somebody is talking you through a process and you're visualizing it. As you visualize it, your body is actually reacting to this. It can also apply to other areas such as training. We in Shankiel often use this in a training scenario. Part of our tradition is we do choreographed sword battles with real swords. These are sharp swords as part of our rituals. So obviously our training has to be very, very intense and non-traditional. And some of the work that the Soviets did in human performance enhancement called psychoenergetics. So we integrate all of these using visualization to help train the body and mind to react to specific situations. So now that we've discussed the whole theory and application of glamouring, the key parts of this is that with glamouring is about learning to control your body. If you can control your body, you're controlling how your energy, your internal energy, and this in turn will control how you are perceived. If your mind is saying, I'm confident, I'm strong, your body will say this. And then everybody around you will perceive that this is a strong and confident person who is to be listened to. So you learn to control how you view yourself, and this is how others will view you. So continue to focus every day on what do you want people to think of you. Practice this. If you want them to think of you as somebody who's glamorous, strong and powerful and confident, practice visualizing that using breathing techniques, relaxation and visualization, and you'll be amazed at how people's reaction to you will change over time.